Welcome to the video lecture on Introduction to Project Management. So in this video lecture, we'll be seeing the importance, objectives and functions of management, principles of management, categories of project, project failure, project management body of knowledge, that is PMBOK, and its different domain areas, project management institute, that is PMI, and certified project management professionals, PMP. On completion of this video, the learners will be able to describe the various concepts involved in project management. Now, what is management? So there are various definitions of management. So according to Harold Kuhns, management is the art of getting things done through others and with formally organized groups. The next definition is according to Henry Fayol. To manage is to forecast and to plan, to organize, to command, and to coordinate and to control. In the words of J.N. Schulz, management is the force which leads, guides, and directs an organization in the accomplishment of a predetermined object. So the traditional concept of management. So management is the art of getting things done through and with the help of people in a formally organized groups. And the modern concept of management. Management is an activity which is necessary wherever there is a group of people working in an organization. Though people in an organization have different functions, but their aim is to achieve the same goal. Management is the process of getting things done with the aim of achieving goals effectively and efficiently. So these were the traditional concept of management and modern concept of management. Now the objectives of management. So there are basically three objectives of management: organizational objectives, social objectives, and individual objectives. The importance of management. The first importance is that it is very useful for proper utilization of resources. It helps in achieving business objectives. It helps in growth and development of business. It helps for better quality goods or finished items. It helps for minimizing the element of risk. It provides innovations. It increases the profit, or it helps in increasing the profits, and there are social benefits too. These are the various functions of management. So the first function of the management is planning. The next is organizing. The next is staffing. Next is directing or leading, and the last function of management is controlling. So here we can see for planning we need to choose or select goals. For organizing we need to work together. For staffing we need employment and we need to give employment. Directing we need to coordinate, and for controlling we need to monitor and measure. So now the first function of planning. So planning means the determination of what is to be done, how and where it is to be done, who is to do it, and how the results are to be evaluated. The next function of management is organizing. Organizing refers to the systematic arrangement of different aspects of business operation to achieve the planned objectives. Staffing. The staffing function of management controls all recruitment and personnel needs of the organization. The main purpose of staffing is to hire the right people for their right jobs to achieve the objectives of the organization. Directing. In directing, managers determine direction, state a clear vision for employees to follow, and help employees understand the role they play in attaining goals. And finally, controlling. This is the fifth function of management. So in controlling, managers evaluate how well the organization is achieving its goal and takes corrective action to improve the performance. So these were the five functions of management. Next, we'll be seeing the principles of management, which were being laid by Henry Fayol, which are the various famous Fayol's 14 management principles. The first one is the division of work. So in division of work, the work division is amongst the individual or group. So work specialization as the best way to use the human resources of the organization. The second is the authority and responsibility. So authority is the right to give orders and the power to exact obedience. And responsibility means being accountable or responsible. The next is discipline. Employee must obey and respect the rules that governs the organization. The next, that is fourth principle of management, is unity of command. So according to this principle, there should not be any ambiguity or confusion, and ambiguity or confusion should be avoided by receiving the commands only from one of the person or manager. The next or the fifth principle of management is unity of direction. So the unity of direction means that the entire organization should move towards a common goal. The next or the sixth principle of management is subordination of individual interest to the general interest. So interest of one person should not get priority over the interest of group or the organization. This is the meaning of this subordination of individual interest to general interest. Next is remuneration. So the meaning of remuneration means it is the salary. So organizations must pay remuneration according to the industry standards, market demand, and cost of the living. The degree of centralization. So what does this the degree of centralization means? Though centralization should be as lowering the importance of the subordinate role. So decentralization is increasing the importance. The degree to which the centralization or decentralization should be adopted depends upon the specific organization in which the manager is working. So whether it should be a centralized position or it should be decentralized thing, that depends upon the specific organization. Scalar chain. The next or the ninth principle of management is a scalar chain. So according to this principle, there must be a clear path of authority in the firms so that the employees can report to the higher level managers when they face calamities or emergencies. The 10th principle of management is order. So according to this 10th principle of order, all the materials and people must be placed in right order. So in order to work in an efficient manner, workers or employees need the right procedure and right equipment all the time. Equity. So this is the 11th principle of management. So equity means equality in short. All the employees or the workers of the organization must be treated fairly, equally, and impartially. So this is the meaning of this 11th principle of management, that is equity. The next is the 12th principle of management, which is stability of tenure of personnel. So according to this 12th principle, that is stability of tenure of personnel, the increase in employee turnover increases the cost of training and development, and it can act as a competitive advantage to the rival firms. Therefore, there should be a stability of tenure for any personnel so that he can work nicely. Initiative, the 13th principle of the management. So management must encourage the workers or employee to take initiative in order to bring additional energy to the organization. And finally, spirit de corps. This is the 14th principle of management. So what is the meaning of this spirit de corps? So the management must encourage team spirit and unity so that it brings out mutual loyalty and feeling of pride. So these were the 14 principles of management which were being given by Mr. Henry Fayol. Now the next point is categories of project. So basically, the project can be categorized into 5 types. So these are, the first one is the short-term versus long-term project. The next is the large, medium, and small projects. The next classification is of project is by type and area. The next category of project is the sequential versus parallel project. And finally, the internal projects versus external projects. So we'll be seeing these categories one by one. The first category is the short-term project versus long-term project. So the definition, a project is said to be short-term if it could be concluded or finished during a year, and long-term if it could take more than a year. Okay, so different features with respect to following orders are the duration, phases time, dependency of phases, financing required, monitoring and controlling, punctuality, risk management techniques or evaluation. So the examples of short-term and long-term projects. So the short-term project, a build a bridge demolition is an example of a short-term project. The next is the relief aid to natural disaster areas or for wounded soldiers is also an example of short-term project. Shooting a documentary or a photo shoot is also a short-term project. And the next is buying or selling a car or a house can be also termed as a short-term project. Now the next is the long-term project. So running a political movement or election which takes a longer time, more than a 1 year. So that can be termed as a long-term project. Also related to construction. So the construction of mega structures, construction of mega dams, bridges, skyscrapers, cities. Example can be the Sydney Opera. So these were the examples of the long-term project. Now, the next category is of the large, medium, and small projects. So the projects can be categorized as large, medium, and small on the basis of the following. The first is the total financial resources available. The next criteria can be the number of team members involved. The next criteria can be number and size of the deliverables to be produced. The next criteria can be complexity of deliverables to be produced. And finally, it can be the time frames involved in the delivery. So based on these criteria, we can categorize a project into large, medium, and small project. So how the project category is determined and what activities are done in each phases in each categories. In case of large, medium, and small projects. Okay. So the first criteria is of the project size, and second, or we are comparing that with respect to project size and with the project complexity. So from this, we can, from this figure, herein we can see that according to the project size, if the project size is increasing, as it is being increasing, the complexity is also being increasing. And for larger the project size, the larger is the project complexity. So we'll be seeing this according to various phases of a project life cycle. So in a project life cycle, so there are four phases: initiation, planning, execution, closure. So for a large project, in initiation, we need to establish the terms of reference. In terms of planning, for a large project, we need to create a project plan. For the next phase, that is the execution phase, for large project, we need to build the deliverables. And for the in the closure phase, for a large project, we need to review project completion. Now similarly, for the four phases in terms of a medium project, in the initial or the initiation phase, we need to develop a business case. And for planning phase, we need to create a project plan. For execution phase, we need to build deliverables. And for the closure, we need to review project completion. Now for the small project, in the initiation phase, we need to develop a business case. And in the planning phase, we need to create a project plan. In execution phase, we need to build the deliverables. And in the closure phase, we need to undertake post implementation review. So this was the information regarding the large, medium, and small projects. Now the next classification of projects by type and area. Okay, so it can be classified into technical projects, organizational projects, economical projects, social projects, and mixed projects. So starting from the technical projects, we can see that the technical projects, in the technical projects, there it can be construction of a building or a structure. Next can be organizational project. So reorganizing or creating a new company. Implementation of a new system of management can be another project in organizational projects. Execution of an international conference or exhibition, that can be another organizational project. So the next type can be economical project. So privatization of a company can be an example of this. Introduction of financial planning and budgeting is also can be a project of economy. Then the next project can be a social project. So example of the social project can be reform of welfare, social protection of vulnerable population, overcoming the effects of natural and social disasters. So these are the some of the social projects. And finally, the mixed type of projects. So it can be the restructuring plan of the company, including the introduction of a system of financial planning and budgeting, development and implementation of a project. Okay, or any software or anything. So that can be a mixed type of project. Now the next classification of the project is sequential versus parallel projects. So there are two main types according to the workflow management of projects. So first one is the sequential project. So in this type of projects, task should be done in a specific order. So such type of projects are known as the sequential projects. So construction, for example, construction also, the task should be done in a specific order only. So the construction projects can be termed into sequential projects. So similarly, parallel projects. So task which can be done in any order. So such type of projects are known as the parallel projects. And the final classification, internal projects versus external projects. So internal projects, so optimization of organizational processes to support the external projects in general. So example can be upgrading the company's IT infrastructure, essentially any endeavor that will enhance the day-to-day activity of company. Project or the problems associated with internal projects. Internal projects are never as stable as the projects run for the external customers. Now the external projects can be on behalf of the external clients, usually when well planned, well thought out, and well funded, and client oriented projects. So example can be developing accounting software designed specially for any other company, or installation or prepaid system for a mobile carrier, etc. There can be various example of external projects. For in civil engineering, we can take a specialized projects that can be an external project. Now the project failure. So why basically project fails? So one of the main reasons why projects fail is that they were not identified as being projects, and so were not managed as projects. Understanding what projects are and knowing their features and how they differ from processes can help to reduce the amount of waste and risk in your organization. And these are the top 5 causes of project failure. So the first cause is lack of attention to human and organizational factors. The next is the poor project management. The next cause of failure is poor articulation of user requirements. Then the next cause of failure is inadequate attention to business needs and goals. And finally, project failure to involve users appropriately. These are the top 5 causes of any project failure. Finally, we can see the PMBOK. So 20 years ago, nearly, PMI volunteers, that is Project Management Institute volunteers, sat down to distill the project management body of knowledge. So this eventually became the PMBOK guide. Now it is considered as one of the most essential tools in the profession, and it is the global standard for the industry, that is the project management industry. More than a million copies of PMBOK guide 2000 edition are in use, and the updates occur on a 4-year cycle to ensure PMI's commitment to continually improve and revise the information contained in this essential reference manual. So the PMI project management body of knowledge framework used for the text is structured around 5 process groups, which are made up of component process consisting of tools, techniques, and outcomes organized within 9 knowledge areas. So these 9 knowledge areas are project management, project integration management, project scope management, project time management, project cost management, project quality management, project human resource management, project communications management, project risk management, and project procurement management. So these are the 9 domains, or the domain areas of project management. The PMI, that is Project Management Institute. So PMI was founded in 1969 by 5 individuals who wanted to network, share process information, and discuss common project problems. So it is now the leading membership association for project management profession with more than 2,60,000 members in over 171 countries. PMI is actively engaged in advocacy for profession, setting professional standards, conducting research, and providing access to a wealth of information and resources. PMI also promotes career and professional development and offers certification, networking, and community involvement opportunities. PMI's project management professional PMP, that is, PMP's credential is most widely recognized and the only global certification in this profession. So project management certification, that is, PMI provides the certification as project management professional, PMP. A PMP has documented sufficient project experience, has agreed to follow a code of ethics, and has passed the PMP exam. The number of people earning PMP certification is increasing day by day. So thank you very much.